Actually, I didn't quite create this, but there is a little bit of background on it. I know that a lot of really nice things were said in the service this morning, but my understanding is a little bit different from that. I understand that up until the 1990s, the church had had this wonderful tradition of Swedish pastors. And then something happened in the call process. Either certain people misrepresented their ethnic heritage, or the call committee forgot to ask, or something like that. So I'm sure that the Swedes in the congregation are still lamenting a little bit the fact that the church has been tainted, as it were. So Ben and I would like to play a dirge that's particularly for the Swedes, but so that you don't feel left out. We thought we'd use the music of the revered Norwegian composer, Edvard Grieg. And then after that, we are going to see if we can do a little bit of violence to a little bit more Edvard Grieg.
have so many stories that we want to share with Dan and Mary, and we will open up the microphone a little later for some of them, but right now Saniqua has one that she is bursting to tell, so I have to let her up here first.
I'm not supposed to talk about this. 10 years ago, Pastor Mary swore me to secrecy. But it would probably be all right to tell you the setting of where she did it. It was at our Grace Church Centennial, and we were gathered over there in front of the Radisson Hotel. Well, a lady, one of our very own parishioners, come up to me and she said, listen right here, either you tell me what Pastor Mary did at the Minnesota Synod meeting, or you can forget my weekly offering in the offering plate. Well, right then Pastor Mary walked by and heard that, and she looked at me and did this. It's been 10 years. You folks think that it would be all right to spill the beans. Well, it went like this. Pastor Mary and Patty Lee and I were supposed to go down to St. Peter to the Minnesota Synod meeting. And I want to tell you, those two are not the most innocent things who ever walked. Patty Lee said that she would drive, and I thought, good. I don't know how many of you have driven with Pastor Mary. Well, in about 2 days, Patty Lee called and said that she decided to go down to St. Peter with her dad. And I thought, oh, brother. So I called Pastor Mary and I said, say, I'd be glad to drive down to St. Peter. And she laughed and said, oh, don't even think of it. I'll drive. Well, it went pretty good for a while. We stopped at Emma Crumby's and had a bite to eat. But you know how when you come out of Emma Crumby's, that highway divides, and one is going the one way, the right one way to St. Peter, and the other side is going the one way, the wrong way to St. Peter. Well, you can just about imagine which one we took. I tell you, I pretty near had a nervous breakdown. I looked out the window and I saw this lady coming smack at us. You know how your light goes right up for your eyes? Did this rattle Pastor Mary? Nope. She spun that car around and we flew over the meridian and we got on the right one way going to St. Peter. And I tell you, when we got there, church meeting or not, I needed a drink. Of course, that didn't happen. We went up to our dormitory rooms to rest. Well, hers was down this way and mine was down this way. We were on the 4th floor. And when I went into my room, there was a man in my bed. So I called down the hall and I said, Pastor Mary, there's a man in my bed. And she called back, oh, there is not. You better come down here. So she stomped down the hall, and when she opened the door, the poor man was scared to death. He sat right up. And she said, what are you doing in Sonia's bed? And he said, what are you two doing on the men's floor? Well, I'd tell you about the next day and a half, but I'm not able.
Next, I'm not quite sure what the garden song is, but I guess we're going to be doing the garden song.
I think some of you do know this. When I mentioned it to people, they said, oh yeah, I love that song. So, those of you that know it, carry us along. I think the phrase, the sentence, inch by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. I think that Dan and Mary have been doing that with this fertile ground.
You might recognize it.
Sorry.